Look who we have on the show. Hey, everybody. We have one of your favorites and my personal favorite. We have Lou Corona, 73 years young, maybe 74, I think 73, and over 50 years on 100% raw living foods. Not raw vegan, but raw living foods. So he is looking amazing. He looks younger every time I see him, and he is in perfect health, which is not typical these days for a lot of people in their 70s. So we want to live our best life head to toe. I think he can do a 7-minute plank. He is so healthy, so inspiring. You guys are going to want to watch this one all the way through. So let's find out how you guys can change your life for the better in 2025. And let's say hello to Lou. How's it going?
Hi, everybody.
How are
Look
you?
forward. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So I look forward to sharing whatever I can to help, inspire, motivate, educate people to that better life that we all deserve to have, right?
Yeah. And before we got on here, you were saying that there was somebody, I think, who was living on raw vegan lifestyle for about 10 years and they couldn't drop the weight, right? They were struggling with holding too much weight, which I think isn't typical for raw vegan, but it does still happen. And then when they transitioned over to raw living foods, that's when they had the changes. So I want to talk to you about that, what the differences are in that to start off.
Well, she had been told that if she could go raw vegan, she'll get rid of the 100 pounds of excess weight. So she went raw vegan, and then she learned how to make raw gourmet food and got really into it. I met her 12 years later, and she was still 100 pounds overweight, and she learned about what I'm doing. And so we got together. We did the live blood analysis so she could see the deficiencies. And she started taking the enzymes with her meals to compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in her food. And she learned how to soak seeds, how to germinate seeds. And the seeds and nuts that did not germinate, she learned how to make yogurt out of nuts and seeds with a life biotic from Puridyne. Making yogurt out of nuts and seeds, it's another secret behind it, but it makes it more enzyme activated, pre-digested, so it's much easier to digest and absorb and metabolize, right? And a year later, she was 100 pounds lesser, and no sag and no flab, looking really good. So, and she
Wow.
also she also did what they call, one of the principles of the four is cellular exercise. She was doing about 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon of gentle rebounding. And it made a big difference, along with the enzymes and the probiotics. She also did the Purizyme MSM and herbal blood about three times a day. That's something she could easily do, and without going into detox, and
And these are all good for our cells, right? These things are all what sort of cleanse our cells. Is that where everything sort of starts and the health of our whole body starts in the cells, do you think?
well, it does. I mean, she took the Lysozyme with her meals because that's a superior, what I call a superior multiple digestive enzyme, Lysozyme from Pyridine, and she took that with her meals. She was taking somewhere between. She started out with 5 with each meal, and then worked up to about 10 with each meal, kind of like what I've been doing for many years. But but she also learned how to take Purizyme, MSM, and herbal blood. I call it three musketeers because they work back to back with each other, going after helping to digest the empty stomach, right? So that way they can work systemically, and that way they can go in there and work on, let me just say, assisting and cleaning and helping to digest the undigested proteins, undigested fats, undigested carbohydrates accumulated in the body. And also helps to clean up the blood. So helps you absorb better, release toxins quicker and faster and easier. So all three of them together does a lot of wonderful things to help assist, not just to clean up the blood, but when she started also taking the cleanse in the mornings, an hour later she would take the lemon ginger blast. Also, she also started drinking the lemon ginger blast, which is a really powerful drink I've been drinking for 52 years. I like to give that also very powerful kudos for helping me to cleanse but energize me, because it really does help a lot, drinking that drink.
That's an
And
amazing
I
drink. Yeah,
I
sorry, go
think
ahead.
I think we shared the recipe before.
We
The
did.
let
So
me
I'll link that down below. And then one of my friends and I, it's such a famous recipe. Everyone I interview drinks that and says it's the most detoxing, life-changing juice, and I think so too. So one of my friends and I, we made it in the kitchen a couple weeks ago. So I made a video for that and we showed you. So I'll post that up next. So make sure you guys
Oh,
subscribe for that. But I'll
that's
put
great.
it down below with us too. But that green juice does a lot for the cells in the body too, right?
It really does. It really does. And I mean, if you want to supercharge it, I mean, for maintenance, I'll drop, 5 of each once a day just for maintenance. I do it 5 days a week like that. Uh, five Pyrazine, 5 MSM, and 5 herbal blood. I do that once a day with my lineage of blast just to supercharge it. I'm talking
Hmm.
about Pyrazine. This
Yeah.
thing's 4 times stronger than Lyzine. The Lyzine is 3 times stronger than what the best of the best that are out there. This is like the best of the best, highest quality I've ever seen. Because see, the thing is we don't use fillers. We
Hmm.
don't use any fillers when these enzymes are made, and we're not using synthetic cofactors. We're using whole food cofactors.
Hmm.
It makes it superior to anything I've ever seen out there.
And
So
I think we need these things these days, right? Because some people might be like, well, if you're eating all the raw living foods and you're eating so clean and your life is like a detox anyway, why do you need these extra things? They'll be like, they're not natural. But I feel like we live in such an unnatural world, and most of us have not eaten well for decades and decades. And I heard you say in a talk once that I think we stopped producing enzymes in our body. I think you said 29, but maybe touch on that. And so that's where maybe the raw living foods are so key because they're loaded with the enzymes and the additional enzyme support and stuff, right? Like, and I'll link all your stuff down below too for anyone who's wondering.
well, listen. Here's the thing. The 4 principles are really special and they're really powerful. It completely transformed, saved my life 52 years ago when I was 21. You remember, but but I must say that if we were living in a perfect world and our soil was really rich like it used to be back in the day, we really would not need to take any supplements of any kind, really. But over time, we've been stripping and stripping our soil. We're not really doing enough composting to feed the soil. We're not rotating the crops properly, and we're definitely not resting the soil like we're supposed to every so often, like every 7 years for at least 1 year. You know what I mean? But we're not even doing that. So I'm just saying, through time, the organic farmers all over the world are stripping the soil, and we're not really doing enough enriching and feeding the soil adequately to accommodate the soil to feed the plants like we're supposed to be doing. So, I think that after all the research I've done and
Hmm.
and all the investigating I did and talking to many farmers all over the world, and it's just it's quite evident now. It's quite obvious that our soil has become depleted. And since about 50 years ago, when I started taking enzymes, plant-based enzymes, with my meals and learning how to do them even between the meals and doing the live blood analysis to get an idea of how the quality of my blood was looking like, and if all my organs are working and working well or not. I noticed that when I did incorporate the enzymes and the probiotics and the herbs and all that I was doing, it made me, I found myself digesting even better and absorbing better and metabolizing better, eliminating better, feeling better, going further without tiring, things like that. But after doing it for 50 years, for me to be 73 and feeling like this,
Hmm.
I mean, literally, sometimes when we're in our 20s, we think we're going to live forever, kind of thing. Well, I'm feeling like that now at 73. I mean, the way I feel right now, I feel like another 70 years is coming. You know what I mean?
I
And
love that. And that's
I
how we
have
all
big,
want to be at every age. And you were saying before
well,
we got on here, like sometimes you can't sleep because you're just so excited. And like that's how we used to be when we were a kid. And maybe some of us grow to that, but maybe in a lot of cases it's our diet. We're lacking enzymes, we're lacking certain things. So like what are the keys to you? Because I think that's your gut health. As soon as you said that to me, I couldn't sleep. I'm just so excited. I think that's like healthy gut health, right? You have a very good gut. So
yeah.
like
Well,
what are the keys there?
at one time I didn't. At 21, because I came from a very conventional, standard American diet, and I ate my fare of junk food, fast foods, American food, or whatever, Italian food, Mexican food. I mean, I eat pretty much everything.
Hmm.
But the thing is, by the time I was 21, I was literally going to the bathroom once every 3 weeks, and that's chronic. But when I lost my ability to digest properly and eliminate and all that, I became toxic. That's when I ended up with a tumor behind the head and chronic asthma, congestion. I had acne all over my face. Had allergies. I had pain in my joints. So that's all related to toxicity in the body, right? I had toxic thinking going on, toxic emotions, and definitely a toxic body. But you know what? Somehow I connected with God. I connected with nature, and I learned to fast. I learned to pray. I learned to breathe. I learned to drink good, clean water, and I learned how to combine my foods better, prepare foods better. I switched over to a plant-based, organic, raw living foods, and I learned to do rebounding on the trampoline. I learned to do breath work. I learned to do the hot cold showers, detox bathing, body work, releasing the blockages in the body. I mean, there's a lot of little things I learned throughout the process. But isn't it interesting that within 6 months I recovered, and I've been well ever since for 52 years. So it's possible for all of us to learn and to grow and to evolve from all these experiences that we have. So no matter what people have going on, whether they're not digesting properly, but I did notice one interesting thing. There is a common denominator that I find throughout my experience and travels all over the world working with people, is that we are struggling with poor digestion. Just because we eat food and go to the bathroom doesn't mean you're really digesting properly. That's why when we do live blood analysis with a colleague, a dear friend, when I see the undigested proteins, undigested fats, undigested carbohydrates in the blood, it's quite apparent that we're not digesting properly. Mm-hmm. When you see the fungus and the parasites in the blood, you can see that we have become toxic as people, So everybody that has any kind of condition, health condition of any kind, and even if they're seemingly healthy, but when they look at the blood, and if it's not clean and healthy, and the red blood cells are not looking really healthy, and the plasma between the red blood cells is not clean, then we have toxicity going on, right? But what I've noticed is when people take something like the Lifezime with meals just to help compensate for the enzyme deficiency in the food, it helps to digest that food better, so we can absorb, metabolize better, eliminate better, run more efficient. But when people take things like the Pyrazyme, the MSM, and the herbal blood, let's say 3 times a day as an example, a lot of times they'll just take, maybe 2 of each 3 times a day, and then gradually work up to 5 of each 3 times a day. Yeah. When I did my cleanse, you don't have to do what I do, but when I did my cleanse for 3 days, I took the Pure Life. The Pure Life looks like this. Pure mm-hmm. Life.
That's the probiotic, like right? Yeah.
It's a very powerful probiotic. It's called Life Biotic. Mm-hmm. I like to make my nutseed yogurts with that one, but Pure Life is more of a probiotic, and really all the difference is that it's Life Biotic with additional protease enzymes with it that makes it even more proteolytic. That just means it breaks down proteins to amino acids more powerfully. And so it just, when people take it at nighttime before they go to bed, let's say, it just helps to reestablish good friendly bacteria in the gut, but it also helps to get rid of those undigested proteins that have accumulated in the system. A lot of people have a lot of undigested protein in the gut, but they also have it in the blood. And we don't want that, because if you have undigested protein going on, it means it putrefies in the system. And when that goes on, it attracts parasites and bacteria and fungus, you see? We don't want those little critters inside of us, right? So we want a good, strong army of friendly bacteria in the gut, at least 80%. Mm-hmm. But that's not going on with most people.
And then we can be healthy like you.
Well, back then when I was going to the bathroom once every 3 weeks, now, I can say that for the last 52 years, I've been going to the bathroom 3 times a day, not every 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So if I eat a couple of meals a day, I go 2-3 times a day. but I'm digesting well, I'm processing well, eliminating well, and running efficient. And that's part of the secret behind this. So if you're not doing that, then you better get with it and make sure you're doing that. You know what I mean? So
Hmm. And I'm excited
you
to.
don't have to do live blood analysis. Go ahead. You're going to say
Oh,
you're
no, go ahead.
excited
Go
about
ahead, because
what?
you were saying so people don't have to do live blood analysis, you don't think?
They don't have to. Every once in a while, I'll do it just to see how I'm doing internally.
Hmm.
But I can tell by the way I feel. Because when you wake up in the morning and you feel awake, you feel alert, you feel good, you feel happy, you're excited, you have energy, you feel like ready to take on the world. Well, that's a good sign. you know
Hmm.
when you go to sleep at night, you can go to sleep at night and just fall asleep and have a good night's rest. But a lot of people I find they're struggling to be able to sleep at night and rest and wake up refreshed. There's a lot of people that struggle with just being able to rest at night. But there's a lot of people that struggle having energy throughout the day. Stable, reliable, good energy throughout the day. That's why I, that's why I see the Starbucks have become that probably like a multi-billion-dollar company, because a lot of people drink coffee to give
Hmm.
them that little stimulation to carry them through the day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just because they don't have good, strong, plenty of viable energy throughout the day. You know, and I don't need to do that type of thing, but a lot of people do. I mean, like millions of people are doing that just because they don't know much about how to prepare foods. They don't know. Most people don't even know anything about raw living foods. What is that? Raw living foods?
I know.
I've seen so many people go vegan, right? I've seen people go vegan and they think that's healthy. But you know what? I just met somebody just the other day. Uh, I could send you a picture because he saw me. He said, Lou, I haven't seen you for 10 years.
Hmm.
Wow, it's good to see you again. Can we take a picture together? And
Hmm.
he was telling me that he'd been doing raw, he's been doing not raw, but he's been doing vegan uh, for over 35 years. And and the thing is, he's 61, but he looks like he's 81, you know.
Wow.
But he's doing like about 85% cooked. See, he's doing 85, 90% cooked. And so when he ran into me 10 years later, he said, Lou, I need to get back on track, get back to raw living foods, get back to the enzymes and the probiotics, and get back into the swing of things. Because he did everything really tight for about, when I moved 10 years ago, he got onto this. He saw it, he got it, he did it for about a little over a year, and he got really healthy, felt great. But then he somehow got back into his old habits and got back into the cooked food side. And he says he found it to be very addictive. So anyway, but it's been another 9 years went by, but he's aged so much to the point where now he's, I mean, if you saw the difference, you'd almost, it's like scary difference. So I realized, wow, what a difference that makes just by not taking the enzymes and by eating the cooked food thing. So I'm trying to do my best to say, hey folks, let's get excited and love God and love nature and love ourselves enough and just drink, breathe slow and deep and drink some clean water. Make sure you stay hydrated, right? I like to drink pure alkaline structured energized water, of course, but start taking some enzymes with your meals and start
Yeah.
compensating for the enzyme deficiencies in
I
our
know. And you
food
know
at
what?
least.
I was so inspired by you because we did a video that was a big hit where you showed everybody what you eat in a day and you showed all the amazing meals, all the juices, all the smoothies, and everything you supplement, which you create yourself because you create the best. Your company's the best. I'll put that stuff down below. And you inspired me because recently I was thinking I'm ready for a change. So I ordered like all your stuff that you showed us in that video. I'll put that video down below. And I'm gonna do when it comes the 3 day lemon ginger blast detox, where you drink like the three juices with the herbal blood and all that. And then I'm gonna try eating exactly like you. I'm gonna try it for the month next month. And I'm really excited. And a lot of people would think, you know what, like I love fats. I love my almonds and macadamia nuts and all this. And a lot of people think we can get into trouble with too much fat. but you're thriving, you look incredible. And do you think the secret to it working with like all coconut almond yogurt and all the mac nut stuff and all the stuff in the dressings and the soups and everything is because like you soak everything in the way you culturize it? Like, do you think it would be different if we're literally just out there not
That's
preparing or eating cashew dressings or eating like handfuls of this or that? Do you think then it's just not going to work that way versus like why it's so successful for you?
I one of the things I have to say, a friend of mine went down to the cashew farm down in Brazil, and he took the cashew from the bottom of the fruit off the tree, opened it up, and ate it. Chewed it up really well and ate it. And he after that he had open sores in his mouth. The farmer told him, "Don't eat raw cashews right off the tree like that because they're very toxic. They're super toxic. So they're hard to digest in that state." So he told him that he has to put them through high heat to destroy the toxin that's in it, and then he can ship it out to the stores. Then people can eat them without having that issue.
Mm.
But they're still hard to digest. So I really don't eat personally. I don't eat the cashews. I'd rather more lean towards the almonds because I use non-pasteurized almonds and I soak them for 24 hours. And then from there, I make my almond coconut yogurt, almond coconut milk, but I make other things with almonds as well. Almonds are the king of the seeds, right? They're a powerful, powerful seed. But I thought it was interesting that lady that was 100 pounds overweight, she switched over from cashews to the almonds, soaked them up for 24 hours, and then learned how to make almond coconut yogurt. She learned how to make almond coconut milk. She learned how to make other nut loaves and different things with the almonds and other seeds and nuts as well, macadamias, Brazil nuts, walnuts, pecans, pine nuts, and so on. But what's interesting is that she got rid of the 100 pounds of excess weight with no sag, no flab, looking great. So when I saw the results in her, I thought, wow, that's amazing, right?
Wow.
So, I just want you to know that the question about proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, just remember that all nuts and seeds have different ratios of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats in them. So the question is, how do you digest them and get the amino acids from the proteins? Or how do you get the fatty acids from the fats in the nuts and seeds? Or how do you get the glucose from the carbohydrates? The idea is make sure that you can digest the proteins, carbohydrates, and fats into these micronutrients, right? So that's where the enzymes come in.
Mm.
So if you're going to eat nuts and seeds, it's better if you at least soak them the night before you consume them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way I like to do it, to get the most out of it, I like whatever nuts and seeds I can soak up the night before and then drain the water and let them germinate. And if a little nut comes out, that means they're enzyme activated. Now it's a living food. Now the body can digest that better. It's easier to digest it in that state. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Now, nuts, like there's certain nuts that when they come out of the seed, forgive me, when they come out of the shell, they, even if you soak them the night before, they don't germinate. Like for instance, macadamias, Brazil nuts, pine nuts, walnuts, pecans. Those are a good example. Even if you soak them the night before, they're not going to germinate. Because once they come out of their shell, they won't germinate. But even though they don't germinate, it's better to soak them the night before you consume them, even if they don't germinate. But if you want to consume them where they're enzyme activated and pre-digested, which makes it even superior for us, that's when you can take Life Biotic, which is a very powerful probiotic that we have through Paradigm. It's called Life Biotic. It's got 5 bacterial strains in it. Mm-hmm. And when you put a teaspoon, whatever nut you're working with, like my favorite one is still almond coconut yogurt. So I take the coconut meat, coconut water, coconut almonds, but I like to enhance it with Life Essentials and raw life protein, just to enhance the nutritional value of my almond coconut yogurt. That's Life Essentials. It's a whole food complex. It's very powerful. And this is raw life protein here. Raw life protein. It's basically it's a protein complex made with pea protein and hemp protein with goji berries. And but it's also enzyme enhanced. And we also have some friendly bacteria in it. So basically, it's very easy to digest it. That's what makes it unique. It's easy to digest, easy to absorb and utilize. But what I do is I'll just coconut yogurt and I'll add a teaspoon of live biotic. And when I blend it up into a cream, I'll let it sit for about 4 or 5 hours. It turns into yogurt. But when that happens, these little friendly bacteria are basically gobbling up these proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, producing enzymes, breaking down the proteins into amino acids, which are the building blocks. That's what makes muscle, hair, skin, and bones. That's what makes more enzymes and hormones in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking down the fats into fatty acids, so that way you can have healthy, shiny hair. That's why you can have supple skin. That's why you can have good bonding sheath around all the nerves throughout your body. But you need good fatty acids for that. But you need to break down the fats into fatty acids before that can happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And if those things aren't getting broken down properly, that's where people can run into problems, right? And I know there were a couple people asking with today's talk about diabetes and things like that. So I know some people think diabetes, a lot of people, a lot of research I see, they say diabetes is from excess fat in the blood, too much fat in the cells. Do you think that is true? And do you think that if somebody is diabetic or pre-diabetic, like you're not a doctor, you're not giving advice, but do you think that they could still try this way, or this would still be too high fat, or it would work because everything's broken down properly with like all the enzymes and the probiotics and this and that? And people were asking, oh, I have one more question, but I've loaded you with enough right there. So we'll wait for that.
Well, I mean, when you understand a little bit more about the pancreas, which is related to diabetes, right? The pancreas has a job. It has a job to help aid in the digestive process of our food. A lot of people that do any research about the pancreas, they know that. They know that it secretes insulin, it secretes enzymes to help aid in the digestive process of your food. It releases protease enzymes to break down proteins to amino acids. It releases lipase enzymes to break down fats into fatty acids. It releases amylase enzymes to break down carbohydrates into glucose. But what's happening is when people eat raw living foods, enzyme activated food, particularly plant-based, preferably, well, when it goes into the system and it has enzyme activity of its own, it helps, it's pre-digested to some degree in the stomach already. And then when it goes further down into the system, into the intestinal tract, the pancreas will secrete enzymes of its own to help aid in the digestive process of your food, right? And then it breaks it down further into micronutrients, nanonutrients, however you want to call it. Then the body then can absorb it into the system and metabolize it and convert it into energy. Muscle, hair, skin, bones make more enzymes, more hormones in your body. You know, you have 3 classes of enzymes, right? You have food enzymes in your food. Then you got what we call digestive enzymes from the pancreas. And then you got what they call metabolic enzymes. And metabolic enzymes is something your body manufactures, like it manufactures hormones, as an example. It manufactures muscle, hair, skin, bones, right? So, but if you're eating cooked food and there's no enzyme activity in your cooked food, and you drop it into your system, now your body then is going to have to do all the digestive process of that food. It's not going to get it pre-digested anymore. Now your pancreas is going to overwork itself trying to make up for what's missing in the food. So now it's going to do the entire workload of the digestive process of your food. See? And that's what's going on. We're overworking the pancreas, overworking it every time we eat enzyme deficient food. So if the food is cooked, there is no enzyme activity in cooked food. So if your body eats cooked food and it takes it in, your pancreas is going to overwork itself. It's going to secrete extra enzymes to help digest that food and break it down into micronutrients like it's supposed to. The problem with that is that you end up using more of your own, more than you remanufacture within the body. And that is a problem. That is the culprit. That means your body is going to become more and more enzyme deficient as time goes on. The quicker you use up your enzyme potential, the quicker you age. And then when later in time, when you become enzyme deficient to a point where you're only digesting half of what you're eating and the other half is not getting digested, you start accumulating undigested proteins, undigested carbohydrates, undigested fats. But guess what happens to undigested proteins in the body? It putrefies in the body. Undigested carbohydrates ferment in the body. Undigested fats turn rancid in the body. That's why people have all this undigested proteins, carbohydrates, and fats that's putrefying, fermenting, rancidifying in the body, attracting parasites, bacteria, fungus, yeast, what have you. And guess what? When that happens, these little critters are living on that waste. And when they're living on that waste, they multiply. At the same time where they're multiplying, these little critters are excreting waste themselves into your body. And the waste that comes out of their little bodies into your body, it's like super toxic, super smelly, and poisonous to the body. And that's why people wonder, why do they get infections? Why do they get cancer and tumors and diabetes and arthritis and fibromyalgia, endometriosis and PMS and headaches and acne and allergies and rashes and itching and all those things that happen to us? Well, it's coming from all this toxicity that we accumulate in the system. So part of it's linked to an enzyme deficiency. And you know what's interesting? In this country, in the USA alone, we have around 330 million people in the country, okay? Now, what's interesting is about 50 million are walking around with diabetes, and another 90 million walking around with pre-diabetes, right? That's almost half the country.
And probably even, I think, a lot more people too that don't even know.
And a lot of people that don't even know. That's exactly right on. I'm just telling you, the pancreas is very tired in so many people today, and they don't even know it. They don't even realize that they're overworking, overtaxing their pancreas and making it so tired that it's not producing like it's supposed to anymore. And then we end up, a lot of people end up stuck taking some kind of medication for, or insulin or whatever, trying to compensate for the high blood sugar levels they have going on, right? Look, I'm not trying to say this is the end all answer to everything, but I would like to encourage people, if anything, to at least, what I've been doing lately is I've been encouraging people to watch like The Game Changers, Forks Over Knives, What the Health, Seaspiracy, Diet for New America, these documentaries, just to help them get informed and get a little more understanding about this whole animal protein thing. I'm just trying to show proof and evidence that we do not have to kill animals and eat them to have life. And we don't have to kill our food either, even if it's plant-based. Right. So I've learned that in the very beginning, we were brought up from the beginning, when we were first created, we were in the plants in the beginning. All animals, all people just ate plants in the very beginning. But later, when we started killing animals and killing our food and eating, our lifespan went from everlasting life to right now, half the people are gone by 65 and the other half is gone by 78 on the average across the board. That's pretty serious. And I'm just saying that I was one of those people that I was lucky if I would have made it to 21 the way I was going. I mean, I almost lost it at 21, so it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it was a blessing because through that experience, I got to learn. But I'm just going to say, by the grace of God, somehow I was able to hear the guidance that I was given. I saw what I saw and I felt what I felt, but I heard what I was guided to do and I did it. And at that point on, that's when I went plant-based, organic, raw living foods. I learned to fast and pray. I learned to drink the good water. And I did juices for 100 days on juice and water. But then I did 40 days on water.
Oh, you did? I didn't know you did 100 days on juices first. Did you do just green juices or did you do green juices
in the
and
very
fruits?
in the very beginning, I ate these cut up herbs in a big bowl all day long. I just ate up these cut up herbs that were all cut up in a big bowl, and I ate that for a couple months, just that in water. And when I first ate it, I thought this is only for animals because it was so bitter, you know. I thought it was only for. I was blessed with somebody that came into my life around that time. I thought he was around maybe 32 when I met him, but he was 52, and his name was Shigeki, and he was a very special person. And anyway, he gathered some herbs, cut them all up, put them in a bowl. He lived off the land with his family. And anyway, he cut them up in a big bowl, and he says, "You're going to eat this for the next 2 months and water, and that's it." And I go, "What?" You know, because I came from Burger King. You know, I came from Papa Joe's. You know, with pepperoni pizzas and cheese pizzas and all that. I mean, so I said, I looked inside that big bowl, and I looked in there, and I go, "You ever see that movie called The Karate Kid?" I was like that kid, sort of sarcastic a little bit back then.
Yeah.
So I told Shigeki, I says, these cut up plants here are not for humans. They're for goats and horses and giraffes, but not for humans.
Yeah.
And then he looked at me with this look like, oh, he smiled and just kind of like shook his head like, what am I dealing with here? You know, and he could tell I was trying to get out of the deal. You know what I mean? And he said, "Did you not say that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get well? You will anything, whatever it takes." And I said, yes, I am willing to do anything and everything, whatever it takes to get well and stay well. And he said, well, this is what you need to do. You need to eat these plants, these herbs, these powerful herbs, and water for the next 2 months.
Wow.
And I said, oh my goodness. So I took a bite, and I'm chewing it really well. And it's so bitter. It tasted so horrible. It was like one of the worst things I ever put in my mouth and ate, you know. It seemingly seemed that way. So as I'm chewing it, I'm struggling, just trying to swallow it, you know. So then he says, I notice you're struggling trying to chew up these herbs. And I go, well, yeah, they're very bitter. And he goes, well, the bitter, the better, okay? And I go, well, okay. So so I finally swallow it. And then he says, you know what? I need to invite you to how to associate these herbs in a different way, because your association with these herbs, they're bitter, they taste horrible, you don't want to do it, you want to avoid it, whatever. And I go, yeah, that's about right. So then he goes, your new association that I want to invite you to is that you look at these wonderful herbs, these powerful herbs. They're going to cleanse, they're going to heal, they're going to regenerate and balance and harmonize every cell in your body, all the organs, all the glands throughout your body, and it's going to make you radiant and strong and vibrant with abundance of energy. It's going to make you feel better than you ever felt. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, so I kind of like that got instilled into my mind and my heart, and I took another bite with excitement. And because now I actually changed my association with those herbs. Mm-hmm. And then I took the second bite, and they didn't taste as bad as the first bite. And within a week, I was thriving on them. And I was eating that whole bowl every day for 2 months with water throughout the day. And I have to admit, I felt better than I felt in a long time.
Wow, where can we get these herbs?
Well,
hook us up. Hook us up.
And then, but after that, I did that juice for 100 days. I drank, like the lemon ginger blast. I drank at least 2 quarts a day, sometimes 3 of those. And I did 1 quart of the liver detox drink, which is 1/3 beet carrot, 1/3 cucumber celery, and 1/3 dandelion juice, pure dandelion juice. So imagine a mason jar 1/3 beet carrot, 1/3 cucumber celery, and then 1/3 dandelion juice. It's a liver detox drink. It's a very powerful drink to drink if you drink it every day. Oh, it's amazing. And because I was working in the Air Force as a jet engine mechanic, I needed something to kind of give me a little substance. So I drank a gorilla milk, which is half of it is sprouted almond coconut milk, and the other half is green juice. You remember the gorilla milk?
Oh, it was incredible, the gorilla milk. I'm excited to make it when I start my eating like Lou Corona.
Well, I did that. So I drank that one of those a day for the 100 days. So I drank at least 2 quarts of limited ginger blast, sometimes 3, and then the liver detox drink, the gorilla milk. And I also had 1 quart of watermelon juice with lemon and cayenne in it. And I drank 1 quart of that. And I did that for 100 days like that.
Wow,
But let
Lou.
me tell you, a lot of stuff was releasing from my body, you know. And so, and then in between, I ate, like I would have the lemon ginger blast in the mornings when I ate food, and then I would have a green smoothie with, let's see, the green smoothie had the berries with a bunch of greens and piece of pineapple, and I used, instead of doing the yogurt at that time, I was just using like a freshly made almond milk. I would blend it up with that, and my green smoothie. Nowadays I use the almond coconut yogurt, as you know, but back then that's what I did, and then at nighttime I would more like towards the evening I would have a beautiful herbal salad with a little bit of avocado and some veggies and some grated up roots and things like that.
And
And
why the cayenne with the watermelon juice?
I think you already know that lemon is really good for you, and it's good for alkalinizing and also good for the liver and all that. So I put lemon with the watermelon and the cayenne. I think the reason I put the cayenne in there is because cayenne is it's a really hot pepper, as you know, but it's very good for, first of all, enhancing circulation for one, but it's also good for knocking out the critters, like parasites, bacteria, and what have you. So it's very cleansing, right? But also helps to enhance circulation really well, helps you to absorb better. And also it's very high in antioxidants. So it helps to neutralize free radicals as well. So this lady came up to me not too long ago and she said, "Lou, I'm kind of upset with you." And I go, "Why's that?" She goes, "Well, you and I are the same age, but you look many years younger than I do. And that's kind of upsetting because I live the same lifestyle like you do for many years. I live on raw foods." And I go, "Yeah, well, let me ask you a question about that. Do you get up in the morning? Do you get up in the morning and wake up with this deep appreciation for another day? Like, do you give God a special thank you to be blessed with another day? Do you do that in the morning when you get up?" She goes, "No." "Oh." I said, "Let me ask you this. Do you take a few minutes and start thanking God for all the different things you're thankful for every morning, counting your blessings and all the various things you're grateful for?" "No." I go, "Oh, let me ask you this. Do you ever take time to breathe slow and deep, in the mornings, and then start off your day breathing slow and deep throughout the day?" She goes, "No." I says, "Oh, well, do you drink pure alkaline structured energized water to hydrate your body and alkalinize your body?" "No, I just drink bottled water." "Oh, well, let me ask you this. Do you take time to drink the lemon ginger blast every morning like I do with a habanero or cayenne pepper?" And she goes, "No." "Oh, do you take enzymes every time you eat your raw foods that you eat?" "Oh, no." "Do you ever take time to soak your seeds and germinate your seeds and even culturize them and make them enzyme activated before you eat it? Whether it's smoothies, dressings, soups, dips, sauces, or whatever, or pâtés?" "No, I just eat them raw." I go, "Oh, well, that's interesting." I average probably about at least 3 hot peppers per day. because
I love it. And you do. When we did the what I eat in a day video, that stuff is just popping with spice and it's all so good. So that must be one of the keys too to like the
well,
circulation, the breathing, the anti-aging, right?
yeah, she looked up hot peppers and she said they're rich in antioxidants, which neutralize free radicals from damaging your cells. Free radicals is what damages cells and causes aging. So if you can neutralize free radicals from damaging your cells, then that means your cellular integrity will maintain its youth and vitality better, right?
Hmm.
So hot peppers helps do that. Besides berries, berries are really good for you too. I do plenty of berries in the smoothies, mostly, but sometimes, occasionally for a snack, I'll have a bowl of berries and I'll throw the almond coconut yogurt or other nutsy yogurts that I make. I'll put it right on top and mix it right in and eat it like a snack, you know.
So good.
But that's a lot better than what I used to do back in the day. You're right.
Well, if you were eating like you were eating back in the day, I probably would not be sitting with you here right now, Lou. Like, well, for
Oh,
sure, we wouldn't like.
that's true. But you know what? I learned my lesson. I quit hating my life and I quit hating people around me. Because when I was little, I was beaten, abused. So I hated life and I was miserable. And I thought life was against me, but it wasn't true just because the abuse stopped. But even though when it stopped when I was 10, I still kept remembering the pain that I had gone through. So I kept reliving my pain. And during that process for years, I kept not just reliving my pain, but I kept hating the experience I had. But I also hated the people in the process, the people in the past. I hated them. I resented them. I was walking around angry and
Mhm.
upset. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why the four principles are important. We need to learn to alter our way of thinking into healthy thinking, powerful thinking. You know what I mean? We don't have to hold on to the hating and the resenting and being angry and thinking that life is against us and all that. That's called stinking thinking, toxic thinking. You see what I mean? But at that time, I didn't know that. But when I had this experience that I'm telling you about, and I was covered by this bright light, it was like a mother loves their baby and nurtures it, and holds it and nurtures it. Imagine feeling that 1,000 times that. That's what I felt like. So when I was told to love and forgive the people in my past, at
Hmm.
first I didn't know how to do that. It's not about condoning the act, but it's about letting go of the anger and the resentment and the condemnation towards these people that have hurt us. You see what I mean? So learning to let go is part of the secret to our success in this life. Letting go, being able to accept what's so, let it go, and recreate, reinvent ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And choose to love and forgive and accept, have compassion, bless everybody with success, love and success, and move forward and recreate, reinvent, and choose to be happy, choose to be excited, choose to be grateful for this life, for the
Mhm.
moments that we get to have in this life, right?
Yeah.
It's our choice, right?
It's our
That's
choice. You're
why
right.
that's why
And I go ahead.
every precious moment that we get to have, we're constantly either thinking, feeling, or eating, or drinking, or doing something, right? But what choices we're making in moment to moment, we need to make sure they count, make sure they're empowering us, make sure they're leading us to a good way, in a better way in our lives, right?
And I know I feel like a lot of people watching want a better way this year. They want a better life. And I feel like a lot of those things you were just talking about with forgiving and all of this, naturally in a lot of people it does start to take place when you change how you eat and you start eat and doing like the proper raw living foods, the detoxing, the cleansing. And okay, so if somebody's watching and they're like, I want to change my life this year, what do you think they can expect? Like, because I know you know some people have gone raw too. You yourself have gone raw. What do you think if somebody goes raw and they commit to this? What are some things? I mean, obviously, there's no guarantees and everybody's different, but what are some things you see happen when people go raw? Like maybe some internal and external changes people can expect if they dedicate themselves to going on the raw living foods.
Well, I can say I can speak for myself and
Hmm.
also because I've been able to let's just say, assist many thousands of people all over the world for many years. It's been
Yeah.
really a wonderful journey. But speaking for myself, I can say that I reflect back even 52 years ago. I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But I remember as I was eating the raw foods, living foods, and drinking the water and hydrating my body, I noticed I started going to the bathroom better, and I started eliminating, more, but I started sleeping a little bit better, and I started feeling a little bit better. And I noticed that I found myself feeling a little happier than before. And as I kept working on loving and forgiving the people in my past, for my pain and all that, I start, consciously choosing to be grateful for the new day, because I almost died at 21. So that next day when I woke up, I was pretty thankful, pretty excited that I got to have another day. But I learned to expound on that from day to day to day to day. And I've been doing that since. So it's a practice that I believe or feel that we need to incorporate in our lives, that we need to take that moment when we wake up in the morning, especially as we're waking up, to be present to that. How grateful we are to have this new day coming in, that we're coming into a new day, and be grateful for that. And then create the new day and what we're going to do this new day. What are we going to do today? And make the best of it, right? But at the same time, I found myself, as I kept eliminating this old stuff from the past, and I put in this good, clean, healthy food into my body like I never did before. But as I kept eliminating this old cruddy waste out of my body, and even though it was very smelly at first, but as I kept doing that, little by little, I kept feeling a little bit better, a little bit better. I would say that within 4 months, the severe acne was all gone by then. I was definitely eliminating a lot better. I definitely felt a lot better. The pain in my joints, I think pretty much were gone by then. It took me about 6 months before the tumor dissolved and went away. But by that time, everything was gone. All the allergies, the rashes, the itching, the pain in my joints, everything was gone in 6 months. So what can you expect? One thing I would like to say also is that as I was going through it, there was times where I would go through detox, where sometimes I would have headaches, and because I was releasing so many toxins. That's one of the reasons why I learned to start doing enemas and colonics, to help draw the toxins out of my body a little bit quicker and easier and faster, so I didn't have to experience the detox symptoms. The detox symptoms that I experienced were like nausea, headachy, nausea, dizziness. Sometimes I broke out of the skin. Sometimes my energy would drop to the floor. I would just like start dragging, and I couldn't even hardly get anywhere. I had to lay down. My energy was like zilch. So that's a form of detox. So these are symptoms of detox that sometimes I went through. Sometimes some days would be good days, and then sometimes would be not so good days. You know what I mean? But as I learned when, before the detox, I would go into detox and start releasing these toxins faster than my body could keep up with. I would go to the bathroom and just rinse myself out, or go do a colonic or whatever, and pull this waste out of my body from the bottom. And that would definitely help me feel better and get through it much quicker and easier by doing that. So it was a process,
Yeah.
and I did that as I needed to, but it helped me. It really helped me a lot. Also, I did a lot of body work, releasing the blockages in the body. So some people know how to do reflexology, or zone therapy, or pressure, deep tissue therapy, pressure points, trigger points, meridians. Body work, good body work helps, again, to release blockages and release the energy blockages, and also move and release toxins out of the body. So And I did the hot cold showers. I did detox bathing. I would do the saunas and jump in ice water. I did all kinds of things to help me get better sooner than later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are all these little various things that you can do. But if you want to do something to start compensating for the enzyme deficiencies in our food, that's where you take Lyfzymes with your meals. When I say Lyfzymes, I'm talking about Lyfzyme. And when you notice we spell life different, L-I-Y-F, it means life in your food. So we encourage people to put life back in their food because our food doesn't have the life force it used to have, like it did it back in the day. You know what I mean? So some people think they can just eat raw foods and get all the enzymes they need, but it's not necessarily true anymore. It was the case years ago when our soil was rich, but our soil is not as rich as it used to be. I know it's unfortunate, but that's the truth. So, but since I've been compensating for enzyme deficiencies in my food, it definitely has helped me over the years. It's not a thing you have to do, but if you want to do something to compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in your food, like what I'm doing, go ahead and watch what happens.
Yeah.
Just after doing it for a little while, you'll notice you'll end up digesting better, absorbing, metabolizing better, eliminating better, feeling better, and doing better. Just by paying attention and being present, you'll notice it for yourself. Like I remember this one person, he was suffering with a gangrene on his feet, and the doctors were getting ready to amputate him, but he didn't want to lose his feet, right? So he decided to take drastic measures. So he was willing to really take this on 100%. So he stopped all animal protein just like that overnight. He stopped all the dairy products, cooked foods, processed foods, all of it, 100%. All he took in for the next 10 days is he drank the lemon ginger blast 2 quarts a day, the gorilla milk once a day, the liver detox once a day, and 2 quarts of water per day. And he took the Pure Life. I mean, he hit this thing hard. I mean, I'm just saying like it is.
Well, that's what we like on this channel. Go big or go home. We like to make mistakes and then fix them. Yeah.
Well, he took the Pure Life 20 in the morning, 20 at night. He took the Purezyme, MSM, and Herbal Blood. I like to call it the Three Musketeers. He took 10 of each 4 times a day, throughout the day. He also did the cleanse in the morning. About an hour after the Pure Life, an hour later, he did the cleanse, which is an herbal complex. The cleanse, it's called cleanse. It's an herbal complex with fibers in it. But what it does, it helps to clean, detoxify the intestinal tract, but it's also very soothing, very healing, but also moves the bowels and draws the stuff out of draws the stuff out of the cyst, out of the tract, the waste out of the tract. And he took that in the morning. About an hour later, he did the Three Musketeers, again, Purezyme, MSM, and Herbal Blood with his lemon ginger blast. And every 2 or 3 hours, he would do it again and again and again, 4 times a day. He did a colonic each day. He did a detox bath at night before he went to bed. He took his hot cold showers in the mornings. He did about 90 minutes to 2 hours of body work per day. And 10 days later, all this crud came out of his system and a bunch of worms and wicked stuff came out of his body. But 10 days later, the gangrene was gone.
And that's unbelievable. When you do the right things, the body can fix itself in a lot even faster of a time frame than many of us realize, right?
We as a people need to consider to take a little time to clean and detoxify our bodies periodically. But in his case, he was very, very toxic. He was at least 100 pounds overweight, very toxic. And he was willing to humble himself and just allow his body to clean and flush itself out. So he helped it by taking these powerful enzymes and these herbs and probiotics throughout the day, through the colonic each day, body work each day, the hot cold showers each day. He jumped on the rebounder 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, and to stimulate the lymphatic system, right? And we worked on getting clear and complete with past issues and so on. And it was really an interesting thing. We worked on the declaration so he could get reinvented, redirect, and redesign his life where he wants to go into the future. But it was a beautiful thing. I think it was 4 months later. I mean, after that, after the 10 days, he learned how to live on raw living foods. But 4 months later, his condition was gone. And 6 months later, he was running 2 miles a day with those same feet.
Amazing. And do
So
you think, I know those herbs can be intense, right? Like they, especially if we're dealing with parasites and stuff, they can be intense on our bodies. They can be intense on our mind. So do you
yeah,
notice that with some people too? And
yeah,
like
that's
how
why
to
they call it the
deal with
third.
your external environment when you're cleansing and when you're on these herbs, if you have kids or if you have things like you have to deal with, because those herbs can really make you feel like angry and if there's parasites in there or like
Well,
emotions, right?
it was very helpful because he was doing the hot cold showers every morning. He would do 3 cycles, real hot, real cold, real hot, real cold. He did 3 cycles every morning. By doing the detox bathing, he was to release toxins out of his through his skin, was one of the limited organs. Because he was doing colonics each day, he was drawing and drawing the toxins out of his body, so he didn't have to suffer with the detox symptoms so bad. He didn't
Mm.
have the anger issues going on, or he wasn't as
Because it's
irritable,
not
or
stuck in there. Like, yeah.
right, exactly,
So what
exactly.
exactly do the hot cold? Okay, I'm sure many people watching know, but I see it. You know, it's a big trend now too, the hot cold, but I've never actually got into it. I'm guessing this is something people can just do right in their own home with the shower, right? Go hot, cold, hot, cold. And like what are the main benefits to that?
Well, for one, it definitely stimulates the lymphatic system, which is part of your immune system.
Mm,
And also, when you get real hot, the blood rushes to the surface. And then when you get real cold, the blood goes back in. So you're stimulating the lymphatic system in the process, which again is part of the immune system. And so, but you're also enhancing circulation at the same time while you're doing that,
mm,
right? So anytime you can enhance circulation, anytime
mm.
that you can stimulate the lymphatic system, it will help to release toxins and waste out of the body. And so it's a really helpful tool to help us, do that, to enhance stimulation, but also stimulate the lymphatic system. It's one of the things that does that. And it seems to kind of invigorate you as well, energize you, and you feel really good afterwards. But but again, like I said, he jumped on the rebounder 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day. He did the detox bath at night, where he would put like let's say 2 cups of magnesium flakes in the bathtub and
Hmm.
2 cups of baking soda. Like I'm talking about the pure baking soda, aluminum-free baking soda. He would
Hmm.
put 2 cups of that in the bathtub with 2 tablespoons of organic ginger root powder and a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You know, I remember this one guy, friend of mine, he put 4 tablespoons of cayenne pepper because he thought the more the merrier, and then his private parts were burning. So he didn't do that anymore.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm just saying that as a little warning. Please
Yeah,
don't do.
be careful. Don't take the things to that extreme. And you know what? I've gotten really into movement now. I realized how important that is because I used to eat the raw foods, sometimes have big smoothies, and then just sit and work on my channel for hours. And I think that's really bad now, no matter how healthy we're eating, to just sit, especially sometimes I would overeat. It's like really bad. So now I try to get movement right after eating all the time. I get a lot of walking in, I get a lot of jogging in, I get a lot of jump rope. Do you think that those things stimulate the lymphatic system too and are good for those things, like you said, like
it,
the
it,
jogging, walking, and jump rope?
yeah, the jump rope is a big one because you're jumping up and down, and that definitely stimulates the lymphatic system. Now, if you could get a Bellicon rebounder or the
Hmm.
cellulizer
Okay,
rebounder,
well.
and
Hmm.
if you do jump rope on that one, that'd be kind of interesting, But
Oh,
but
yeah,
no,
I don't know about that, but I can jump on those.
yeah, just jumping on the rebounder will do the trick. But if you don't have a Bellicon, a rebound, I mean a jump rope would be a pretty cool thing to do because it does stimulate the lymph. And if you're going to do jogging, if you jog up and down the stairs, it would be more effective than just jogging
Mm.
on a flat surface.
Yeah,
By
okay.
far, by
Yeah,
far,
because
for
the
sure.
movement's key too. It's not just the food, right? It's really important we get moving.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, run up and down stairs, 20 minutes. Boy, Or if you can dance vigorously for 20 minutes, that will do it too, you know?
Good one. That
But,
picks up our mood. Put on some music you love, right? Some Kenny
right, right.
Rogers or whatever you like. Get it flowing. And
Haven't heard Kenny Rogers for a while.
Fruit, I thought that's what we were listening to when I was with you. I can't remember. It was somebody
Oh,
though.
are you talking about Kenny G?
Kenny G, that's right.
Yeah, I like Kenny G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, I wanted to ask you
Hey,
about
but
fruit.
I can go from Kenny G to Michael Jackson too, you know?
Yeah. No, me too. I'm all over the map. It's just all about what makes you feel high vibe, right? And fruit.
Right.
So I know in our What I Eat in a Day video, which I'll put down below, you guys, these meals, your foods were, I would say, the best I've ever eaten that also made me feel incredible. So I didn't feel like, some raw gourmet foods or foods you eat, you feel amazing, and then you feel like weighted down and tired. Your foods were satisfying, delicious, nourishing, and gave you that energy, that vibe, that feeling good. And I did notice like and people did notice there wasn't too much fruit. But of course, everybody's interested because they're like, look at him. What he's doing is right. It's working. And everybody, we love our fats, like our almonds and mac nuts and everything. But is that intentional that you don't like overload on the fruit? Or do you think it's okay
I
just to have a bunch of fruit and also have a bunch of fat in a day? Because a lot of people say if we're having too much of those, that can lead to insulin problems, having a lot of fruit and a lot of fat in the same diet.
I feel that's a great question, by the way. So we as people need to learn to listen to our body. You know how I talk about cellular communication,
Mm,
how it's the first principle of cellular communication, how you communicate with God is one thing, how you communicate with your mind is another, how you communicate with your emotions is another, right? Hopefully, as as I'm communicating with my emotions to you and everyone that may ever listen to this recording, that they can feel my love and compassion for each one of you, right? But also how you communicate with your body. So the body, when the body says it's quenching for thirst and it wants water, then give it some water. But if you're going to give it some water, pure alkaline structure energized water is a good thing to hydrate the body with. So give it some of that. But you'll notice I don't really drink bottled water per se, especially plastic bottles, right? But if I drink spring water from a glass bottle, that's one thing. But I make sure it's coming from a good source and hasn't been infused with fluoride, because some natural spring waters now are being infused with fluoride, which is not something I'd agree with, and I wouldn't put that into my body. But again, when the body says it wants water, give it some water and quench its thirst. It didn't say Kool-Aid and soda pop and coffee and wine, beer, liquor, and other beverages that people drink. It just said it wants water. If the body says I want something sweet, then give it something sweet. It's okay. Listen to the body. It tells you, but you need to be able to be connected enough and tuned enough to know how to listen to the body when it's trying to communicate to you. So if it wants something sweet, okay, maybe you'll have a banana or a mango or a piece of pineapple or maybe some berries or whatever, but it didn't say pastries and candy bars. You understand? And that's what I used to do before. I used to do the ice cream and the pastries and the donuts and all that when my body wanted something sweet. But I didn't know any better. So when you're asking questions like this, if the body wants something savory, then give something savory. Like when we had that salad with that chipotle dressing, it had almond coconut yogurt in there, had garlic salt lemon to it. We used the Himalayan salt with the garlic salt, remember, with a little bit chipotle. But how did it taste? I mean, it tasted pretty good, right? It was kind of
out of
savory.
this world. It was incredible.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, before I didn't know how to listen to my body, and I just ate all these things that I was brought up with, but it wasn't really serving me and it wasn't honoring my body, my health, and it sabotaged me. But as I've learned, so now I enjoy fruit, but my body is calling for it. So during the summer, I mean, I noticed I enjoy watermelon. I still sprinkle a little. One of the things I did back in the day when I was going through detox for those 6 months, those first 6 months, one of the things I did during that time is I did a 45-day watermelon fast, and I would sprinkle a little lemon on it. I would sprinkle a little cayenne on it, and I would have a slice of it, and I would eat it slice by slice throughout the day. I'd have like this big, huge watermelon every day, but I would eat it in, in slices at a time throughout the day. But every time I did, I was always sprinkle a little lemon on it, a little cayenne on it, and eat it right up. But let me tell you something. The first 40 days of the 45 days, this most putrid, morbid matter came out of my body. It was evil and wicked that came out of my body. And I knew it was not watermelon. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It was all that stuff from before that I ate. I used to eat a lot of animal protein, a lot of pastas, a lot of pastries, a lot of pizzas and burgers. I mean, I did it all, you know what I mean? So all that gunk was coming out of my system for 40 days. The last 5 days, I could tell it was watermelon passing through my system. It helped clean my system up. So I'm just trying to say, after I got all cleaned up and healed and felt great, and I was so grateful, and I've been so grateful since. But throughout the day, if I feel like I want some watermelon or a mango or a pineapple or a banana or an apple or whatever, or berries, I just have some to my satisfaction when I'm satisfied. And then, but when I want something savory, that's when I'll whip up a nice, beautiful salad and grate some roots in there and put some arugula in there, some spring mix, and, cut up some sprouts in there and whip up a nice yogurt dressing with some avocado and whip it up and put in there and have it. And I enjoy it, and I do that, I do that pretty most often. Occasionally I'll fast for a day here and there, now and then, when my body doesn't want to eat anything. It just wants to just have water and maybe some juice that day. Sometimes 2 days, Occasionally I'll do a 3-day cleanse it might happen like every 6 months. I might do a 3-4 day cleanse. That's when I'll hit the Pure Life. I'll take 20 of these in the morning, 20 at night.
20. Well, what if people are like, okay,
hey,
that's
listen,
too potent
listen,
for me, 20, but I want to do it. Then how many? 5?
No, for the average person, they could do maybe 5 or 10,
Okay.
Listen, you're talking to a big hitter here. You know what I
No,
mean?
I know. That's what I'm saying. For us regular people
Yeah,
who aren't at
I
this
was just
level
being
yet, because I
facetious
got
when I
all your
said
stuff
that,
and I'm going to
okay?
do the cleanse. I think 5 each, right? Because I've got kids. I can't be running around losing it on
No,
everyone, getting out these
no.
parasites.
Five each with five at night before you go to
Okay.
bed is a good thing. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just telling what I'm doing. When I want to hit hard and heavy for 3 days, let's say, I'll at nighttime I might take 5 or 10 at night myself just for maintenance. But
Yeah.
when I'm doing like a super 3-day cleanse and I'm hitting myself hard and heavy to really do a purge and cleanse my body in 3 days, that's when I'll hit it hard and heavy. And that's when I take the Three Musketeers and I'll just hit 10 of each 4 times a day. You know what I mean?
Okay. And
And I'll do the cleanse in the morning. I'll do the cleanse like an hour after the Pure Life. I'll do the cleanse like an hour later, a scoop of this with 6 ounces of water or juice. I shake it up and slam it. And then an hour later, I'll have the lemon ginger blast with the Three Musketeers for my first increment. You know what I mean?
okay.
But
And
I'm just saying, when I do that, and I do the detox bath each day for 3 days, right? And then the hot cold showers. Now the hot cold showers, that I do every day. I've been doing that for 52 years since I learned about it, because that's easy to do, And I like it more when I'm up north in Washington, because when the water's cold up there, it's like ice cold. So I like that shocking experience.
I love it. You're inspiring me to start doing this. I can't wait. And I know you mentioned cashews you avoid. So I'm curious, and I'm sure everybody will be too. Any
If
other foods you avoid? Like I know some raw vegans eat peanut butter. I don't know if that's technically raw. Some people tell me it is, some people tell me it isn't. What are your thoughts on peanut butter and any other foods as a clean raw foodie that you steer clear of?
that lady I told you about that was 100 pounds overweight, that was her 2 main seeds that she liked to eat: cashews and peanuts. We cut those out and we put in the almonds and pistachios and pine nuts and macadamias, Brazil nuts. But I showed her how to make yogurt out of those nuts and seeds. The almonds we soak for 24 hours. But
Hmm.
the macadamias, Brazil nuts, pine nuts, walnuts, pecans, overnight. Just soak them overnight, ready to go. Blend them up into a cream with a little water and put the teaspoon of Life Biotic in there. Blend it up into a cream. If you want to enhance it, if you want to enhance the nutritional value and add life essentials and raw live protein to it, you can do that if you want, like I do. That's up to you. But I'm just saying, she did that. But she cut out the peanuts. If you're gonna do peanuts, I occasionally I will do maybe like the jungle peanuts.
Hmm.
Those are better because they're
Hmm.
organic jungle peanuts. Those are much better peanuts to use if you're going to use them. But soak them the night before, and then blend it up into a cream and culturize it. So that way it's pre-digested, it's enzyme activated, and it's easy for the body to digest it in that state. Now, when people eat the regular peanut butter you're talking about, whether it's raw or roasted, it's very hard to digest it
Hmm.
in that state. It's very
So
hard to
that's
digest.
hurting the pancreas then, right? That's hard on the pancreas, and then that can lead to.
It stresses out the pancreas and the whole digestive system. You know, there's a friend of mine that he really loved and respected me a lot, but he couldn't live this lifestyle just out of pure choice. He just couldn't seem to do it because he loves his peanut butter. He loves that peanut butter, right? So, so he was basically, he was mostly raw. I would say 90% raw, but the peanut butter, he just loved his peanut butter. And he kind of relied on that peanut butter, kind of like he wasn't into the nut seed yogurts like myself. He did take enzymes with his meals. He at least did that much. But what's interesting is he ate quite a bit of that peanut butter. He put it in his smoothies. He he would take a spoon of it and put it right in his mouth and just chew it up like I used to do when I was a kid. I used to eat peanut butter when I was a kid. I mean, I used to love peanut butter back then too.
It's
Yeah,
good.
I
Yeah,
know
I
what
get
it's
it.
like to love your peanut butter. I mean, I was one of those people, so I know what it's about. But my point is, when he was 55, he developed a big tumor in his spine and he passed away. Now, if I was him, I would have called me and said, Lou, I'm ready. I'm
Hmm.
ready to cleanse, heal, regenerate myself. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. I want to really learn what you're doing and how you're doing it and how to cleanse and heal, regenerate myself. There's a few people out there in the world. They know how to look me up. They just look me up and somehow they get a hold of me and they want to hang out with me for 3 or 4 days or 5 days or 10 days because they really want to learn how to cleanse, heal, regenerate themselves, how to acclimate, and how to live this lifestyle successfully and
Hmm.
powerfully, you know. And they get a hold of me, and I just did one for 21 days with somebody, and his life will never be the same. He loves every moment we got to have together. And he's been living like this now for what, almost 3 months. And he just told me yesterday, he says, Lou, he's only 61, but he says, I feel better than I felt in many years. The part that got me was when he said this. He said, Lou, I was feeling that I would be lucky if I could make it to 65. He actually felt like he might not make it up to 65 the way he was
Hmm.
feeling.
Hmm.
But after just 3 months living this lifestyle, the way I'm talking about and doing the things I'm talking about, now he's saying, I can see now I'm going to definitely live to 100, no problem. That's how good he's feeling right. Oh, just in 3 months. That's pretty impressive.
And like, yeah, you feel good like that. You feel like you were telling me before you get on the call, excited for life in your gut. Like that's all how we want to feel, right? Like we're every day is Christmas morning as a 6-year-old. That same like feeling, right?
Well, that's the idea. A long time ago when I was really suffering, I remember having this insight. It really, I'm telling you, it was almost like God was speaking to me, and this is what came through. And this is when I was faced with acne and tumor. I had all this stuff going on, but somehow I was told that we were designed from the very beginning to be healthy. The intention was when we were created, it was to be healthy and happy and have a quality, everlasting life. That's the way it was intended. But because we fell off track. We've been aging and having sickness and disease and dying ever since. And it went from 1,000 years to 800 years to 500 years to 200 years. Now we're lucky to make it to 65 to 78.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if anybody makes it to 80 in this country, especially, they're already on the edge of their life already. They're just like suffering with something, and they're ready to go anytime. If they hit it to 80, they're above average already. But if they make it to 81, 82, my dad, I don't know how he made it to 82 with all the habits he had, you know. But I'm just trying to say is that we as a people have been suffering so badly because we just somehow lost sight of how to live a long time ago. Somehow we got talked into it. Somehow we got persuaded to kill our food before we ate it. Somehow we got talked into killing animals and eating them, you know. And I'm telling you, once I got this insight, I said, God, I need you to show me what's causing my issues. And because if I was doing things correctly, I would not be suffering. I would be healthy. I would feel great like I used to before. So I need you to show me what's causing my issues. I need you to show me like solutions, like what can I start doing to help me get better? I need you to show me how to live from now on, so that way I can not just get better, but stay well, you know, and have a good life. And then that way I can fulfill my purpose here in this life. And that's what I need you to do. And I need you to do it now, like yesterday. And I said that in Jesus' name, Yeshua's name, that moment. And then all of a sudden, I felt his presence. And all of a sudden, he told me to walk away from the hospital. And I did. And that night is when I went through that near-death experience. And that's when I was told these 4 principles. And that's when I took them on and I did it. And the next day when I woke up, I was a little confused, like, how am I going to get all the protein I need to sustain myself? Because I was so used to eating animal protein. And he took me right to the book, the Bible itself. And it took me to the very first book, the first chapter, the 29th verse. And it said, I have given you every herb bearing seed, every fruit yielding seed for your meat. That's what it said. And then I thought, oh, here I thought meat was eating animals. And so when I learned to take in the fruits and the vegetables and the herbs and the seeds, and I was shown how to soak them in water and germinate them and all that. But when I learned how to do these things, isn't it interesting that within 6 months, the tumor dissolves, acne goes away, the asthma goes away, everything else goes away. 6 months, I got well, and I've been well ever since. So I'm just saying, I can only just pray in this moment. Whoever is watching this recording, they get a sense and a feel, not just my love and compassion for them, but get a sense and a feel that what I'm saying is just coming from just absolute common sense truth, raw truth about how we're designed to live. This is the way we lived in the beginning. And I was shown in the good book that in the last book of the actual Bible itself, it says that in the future, when Christ returns, all animals, all people will go back to living on plants like they did in the beginning. And I was being told to live like that now. Isn't that interesting? And I'm saying to you and everybody on this planet, that's what we need to do now instead of tomorrow. Instead of waiting until the second coming, let's just do it now. Let's get with it. So we can actually learn to cleanse and heal, regenerate ourselves, and live a great, wonderful, quality, amazing, happy, fulfilling life like we're supposed to. And that way we can live a peaceful, harmonious, joyous life. You know, the good book, it said, thou shalt not kill. It actually says it word for word, thou shalt not kill. It didn't say what not to kill. It just says, thou shalt not kill. And I thought it was interesting when I read that, because we as a people, we're constantly doing exactly just the opposite. We're doing exactly killing. We're killing our air. we're killing our water, we're killing our soil, our earth, we're killing animals. We even raise them and then kill them and eat them. You know what I mean? But we're constantly killing our animals and eating them. We're killing the air, water, earth. We're killing even each other. We're killing our food before we even eat it. You know, it's like destroying the life in everything. The life, I don't know if you know anything about the power of enzymes, but did you know that if there's no enzymes in the soil, that soil is dead and nothing grows on that soil? Nothing.
Wow.
Zero.
Wow.
Yeah. Without enzyme activity, without friendly bacteria in the soil, it doesn't have the ability to break down the nutrients that's in that soil and feed it into the plants. So that's nothing will grow on that soil. It's called dead soil.
Wow, Leo.
So that's why I like to share this powerful analogy that if you take a sweet yam potato and bake it and then eat it like most people do, instead of eating it, put it in the ground. Just bake it, put it in the ground, water it. You know what's going to happen? It's going to rot in the earth. It's going to decompose. It's going to rot. It's going to just become fertilizer. But what's interesting is if you take a raw sweet yam potato and put it in the ground just like that without baking it or cooking it or anything, just put it in the ground and water it, it sprouts and creates more potatoes into the future. It actually creates, from that one potato, you can create potential billions of potatoes from one potato. And the point of that is that it gives life. So when I take sweet yam potato and I run it through a juicer and I mix the yam juice, the sweet yam juice with almond coconut milk with a little pumpkin pie spice to it.
That sounds good.
It actually is really good. Everybody goes yummy when they drink it. And actually very good for you. Or I spiralize it and make it into like a spaghetti and I make a curry sauce with it, with the yogurt, and I make a curry sauce with it. And I put it with the spiralized sweet yam potato, and I cut it all up and I put it in a dish. People eat it and they go, wow, this is really good. They love it.
Yeah.
But I can also grate it into a salad, just like you do a carrot and a rutabaga or a beet. You can grate it right into a salad and eat it right up. No problem. And it's good for you. It gives you life. That's my point. But when you bake it, fry it or whatever, it doesn't give you life. And it messes with you inside. It robs your life force, your life energy. It uses up more of your own enzymes to digest it more than you remanufacture. So the least I could say to people, yes, acquire this plant-based organic raw living food lifestyle as what we're doing. But if you're still eating cooked food, I'm going to say the least you could do is take some lysozymes with it to help compensate for the enzymes missing in that food, because there is no enzymes in cooked food at all. So take some of the stress off the pancreas and take some lysozymes with it just to help you digest that food better. And you might say, and take the stress off the pancreas so it doesn't have to work so hard. You know, that's like a baby step in a better direction, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
And yeah.
I know another thing is, so one other thing I wanted to ask you is, I know it's not all food, like obviously obviously these fast foods and these things can cause tumors and lead to a lot of health problems, the foods we're choosing to eat, right? But it can also be the stress and anxiety, like the stress and anxiety, which I know we touched on a little bit, but sometimes even the healthiest of us suffer with stress and anxiety. And I know, like I said, those can lead to cancer. Stress and anxiety are proven to elevate blood sugars. Chronic elevated blood sugars can lead to prediabetes, diabetes, stroke, heart conditions, all these things. Like, so what would you say comes to mind, like top of your mind of the top tips to reduce stress and anxiety in this day and age we're living in, Lou?
The first thing I would say to the whole thing about stress is, again, when you wake up in the morning, give a very special thank you to God for another day. And walk into a space of being grateful for this life, grateful for every moment that you get to have in this life. And be grateful for all the wonderful things you have going on in your life, whatever you have going on. I remember a long time ago, somebody took advantage of my trust in nature. I lost everything. I lost a house, I lost cars, I lost money, lost everything. But I ended up with this $200 car that I was sleeping out of. And it was actually one of my better moments of my life. Because when I lost everything, in that moment, I realized I didn't really lose everything. I might have lost all the material things, so to speak, but I realized that what was most precious to me in my life really wasn't material things. It was my love for God, my love for humanity, my love and my passion for my life. And I didn't lose my memory. I didn't lose my health. I didn't lose that love that I had for life, for God, for nature, for humanity. You know what I mean? And I didn't and I didn't lose that. And my love and compassion for humanity, my passion for and the vision to take this message worldwide and spread it all over the world. The idea of creating healing centers into the future, I didn't lose the vision of that, the purpose of that, So, and I realized that even though it seemed like I lost everything, in that moment, I found myself gaining everything because I came to this realization how powerful that was. And so the first thing I did is I rolled my window down, I looked into the stars, and I said, Heavenly Father, thank you for this experience that I'm having. But, first thing I want to do is I want us to forgive the man who took me took advantage of my trust in nature, and I lost my house and cars and everything. But you know what? I want us to forgive him for that, because I know that even though he's wealthy, he still suffers with the fear of lack. And that's why he took from me. But let us forgive him anyway. And like you taught me, let's love it. Let's have compassion for him, and let's love and forgive him. And let's anoint him with love and success in his life. So much love and success that he will never have a need to ever take from anybody else into the future. But from here on out, I know when one door closes, another one opens. So I just want you to guide me and direct me. What door do I open next? Where do I go next? What do you want me to do next? Mm-hmm. I'm here, ready to go. What do you want me to do next? I'm ready. Because, I got my memory, and I have skill, and I have energy. I have health. I feel great. I just want to know, what do you want me to do with what I got left? Because I have a lot. I have so much now knowledge and experience and skill, and I have this love and compassion inside me. What would be best for me to do right now with my life? This is 1988 when I said this. And what I woke up with? He told me to break my silence of 12 years and start sharing these 4 principles. And that's when I started. And I've been doing that ever since.
See, I love that. So living from a place of gratitude, because then you can't feel stress and anxiety if you're living from a place of gratitude. And connecting with God to ask how you can be of service and add value and be your best in this life, right? Then that sets you free of the anxiety and the stress, essentially, right?
It does. It does. And keep trusting, having that faith, that trust that everything's going to work out for the good no matter what. When that happened, my whole life changed. It transformed into doing what I was passionate about. I was able to live my passion from that moment on, forever since then. And that was in '88. So I've been living my passion ever since. You can tell that while you're listening to me right now, I am sharing whatever I'm sharing out of love and compassion for every single one of you. I just want all of you and everyone on the planet to win the game of this life, so you can live it and fulfill it and live up to your potential and be better and better.
I love it.
I mean, life just keeps getting better and better every time.
And that's how it should be. It shouldn't just be like it deteriorates in every area and it gets worse and we're looking back at the good old times, right? It should get better. So I love that. It's so you inspire me so much, and so many of us.
Well, Great. Where do we go from here?
Well, we got to do more episodes. This has been amazing. And I know we have so many questions that are so good from my viewers that I couldn't get to. And I know people want to see an in-depth episode about the four principles. So we have to bring you back in the near future to maybe do those two episodes. I think that would be great. And let me know if there's anything that you want to end off with. And then I'll be sure at the end of this video, I'm going to put on the screen our What I Eat in a Day video because everybody go watch that. See what Lou eats. Start eating what he eats like me. I can't wait to take that on after my trip to New York next week. And then I'll also put on one of our top podcasts. So, any words you want to end off with, and let everybody know where they can find you. And I'll put the Pyridime down below, all the probiotics, all the enzymes. We know if you make it that it's truly the best.
Well, after going through two companies before, and when they changed things around and things got compromised, that's what inspired me and motivated me to go on water for days and ask God to help me form a global company that would be founded on the four principles and be able to carry the best of the best of the best enzymes and probiotics and everything else we do, superior quality, but also for the best possible pricing ever developed in history. And also I asked for me to be the guardian of it so I could protect the integrity and the quality of all that we do ongoingly into the future. So that this stuff never gets compromised and watered down and all that. If you guys only knew, if people only knew the efficacy and the stringent things that we do to make sure it is superior quality, because as the raw materials come in, we make sure that we put it through quarantine. We make sure that that it passed the test. You know, we check it for contamination. We check it for radiation. We check it. We make sure that we're getting what we asked for, but we also make sure of its purity, its quality, and so on. And then after we make it and put it together, we check it again and test it again to make sure it's held its efficacy and its quality and its integrity and everything else. And so there's like 3 different checks that goes on before it goes out the door. So it goes through a lot of rigid testing and validating everything and confirming that everything is tight and right.
Yeah.
So it takes us a little extra time to do it, but it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Because we're not just interested in taking superior quality just for ourselves, but also to provide that for everyone globally. So sometimes if we ever run short and run a little behind schedule, and if we have a back order, it's for a good reason. And just all I can say is just be patient, wait until it comes in so you can have it again. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
We keep doing our best to keep up with our growth and everything else.
Yeah, amazing.
So one last thing, what I would say to end our conversation is this: watch the documentaries. Maybe that might be informative and helpful and educate you a little bit, but do the best you can to maybe acquire the lemon ginger blast. If you can do that one thing, it would be a really helpful thing. No matter what you do and how you live and eat in the future, I'm going to definitely encourage you to learn to make these not just a lemon ginger blast, but learn to make some smoothies with that almond coconut yogurt. Throw some berries in there, maybe a handful of greens, whether it's spinach, arugula, or whatever, kale, and learn to make a smoothie every day. And maybe later when you go to have, lunch or dinner, whatever, try to incorporate a salad or some vegetables with it, And if you want some fruit, have some fruit, enjoy it. When I saw somebody that was practically a fruitarian, he's been living this way for a long time, but he ate 15 mangoes at once. Now that's something I don't do. You know what I mean? You ask me a question like, what do? I don't do that. I'm not going to eat 15 mangoes at once. I'm not going to eat 30 bananas at once either. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make a meal out of just bananas. I may have 1 or 2 here and there, but I'm not going to have, you know what I mean? I'm not going to eat a whole watermelon all at once.
Right, because you think our insulin, that's for sure going to mess with us, and it's going to not be good.
Well, let's just say this. Like if I have some dates I might have one or two, but I'm not going to have 20 of them. You know what I mean? At
Hmm.
once. Overloading too much sugar at one time on your body, it definitely puts a stress on the pancreas, even if it's wrong. A long time ago, I got a hold of these dates. They're called bar heat dates, and I was
Hmm.
eating too many of them too often for several months because I loved them so much because they reminded me of caramel candies. And they came off a tree. They're organic. They're whole, complete. You know, they're awesome, right? But I was eating too many of them, and I realized that it affected my health, it affected my blood, and I saw it, and I realized, oh, too much of one good thing is not really the best thing for you. So
Hmm.
you can drink too much water at one time. You can eat too much food at one time. You can have too much fruit at one time. So I'm just going to say, listen to the body, pay attention, be more respectful of what the body's calling for. But when the body's satisfied, stop it. Stop doing whatever that is at that moment. You know what I mean? Listen. Just take what the body needs at the time, but don't overindulge. That's something that I used to have a tendency to do in the past,
Hmm.
overindulge, because I was always hungry all the time. See, and so that's why I think for me doing periodic fasting has really been helpful because it kind of conditions my body to get used to just getting what it needs, not overindulging. And fasting periodically helps me to sort of keep that at bay from overindulging because I had that tendency way in the past.
Sometimes I
So,
think about doing like, because sometimes I overindulge. I need to get that in check. That's why I'm going to do your cleanse, start eating like you, chill out a bit. Do you think that I've been thinking maybe doing like a 1 day dry fast a week? Like, I don't
oh,
think that's ridiculous. I think that's perfect. Just 1 day a week.
I would like to ask, well, let's just say, because I did quite a share of dry fasting, especially those first 6 months.
Hmm.
But I didn't do it until after I took some time to clean up my system a little bit, flush it out.
Hmm.
And then I started learning to do dry fasting as well.
Hmm.
Um, I would love to see at least once a week water juice fasting, and then
Mm.
maybe once a month doing a dry fast. And then if you feel like you're ready to go to 2 days a month, then try 2 days a month. And
Hmm.
walk into it. A lot of times people just it makes it easier for them to do juice and water one day a week, and then when they feel that readiness and they feel like the mind, the heart, the body, the emotions, everything's ready, they can do a dry fast with no problem.
Yeah, okay. I love that. I did a 48 hour recently and I thought it was incredible. So I think like these mini ones now and then are good. And one thing that I used to always do, which like I've shifted recently, was for the longest time, like I would start my day with like fruit juice, like honeydew juice, watermelon juice, orange juice, and have like a lot of them through like the morning, and then maybe a big smoothie, and then have like a denser meal in the afternoon. Do you think that maybe it's not so wise to start the day with something like a big fruit juice that can spike you up and then taking other things that can spike you down, like doing a way like that can kind of give us like these spikes?
I think again, listening to your body,
Mm.
listen, listen, just take what you feel like you need at the time. But again, my limit ginger blast in the mornings is something I got used to, you know. So I don't do as much um, fruit juice as much as I used to back in the day, but I enjoy my fruit and some fruit juice now and then, but I just
Mhm.
don't do like too much of it at once.
Yeah,
That's the
so
thing.
that's a good takeaway from this video. Not too
Yeah.
much at
And
once.
another thing I don't do, I'm not one to do algae, like spirulina, blue green algae. I don't
Hmm.
do algae because they don't come from a seed per se. The algae is something that forms in the water, and algae were programmed to clean the water. But some people found out that this green algae has proteins, carbohydrates, fats, chlorophyll, vitamins, minerals, like a superfood complex. So they would collect it and then would dry it and make it into a powder and make it a superfood for people. And but what's interesting is I did a 40-day water fast, and I actually got the best algae you can get, and I put it with my juice, mixed it up because I was going to rebuild my body with that. I went to drink it like this, and my arm. Let's say this is the container. I went to drink it like this, and my arm went like that. It took it away from my mouth 3 times like that, and I didn't know why. And so then I tried wheatgrass, barley grass, and alfalfa grass juice concentrate, and I mixed it in the juice, and my body sucked it right up. But every time I tried the algae mixed into the water and juice, it would not. My body like repelled it. It wouldn't take it in, but I didn't know why. So I was going over this with my friend that did a massive research on NASA study with all the algae in the world, and they discovered that algae are programmed to clean the water. The algae forms in the water, and then it attracts toxins to itself. And so they found that all the algae in the world have a certain amount of contamination in the algae, and they can't filter it out. It's in the algae. It's in there. So they found out when people use it as a superfood, that toxin that's in there, it accumulates in the liver, which is one of the filter organs in your body.
Wow.
And so there's a guy that I know, I'm not even going to mention his name, but he became a doctor, and he created a product that had algae in it. And I told him, leave everything else in it, but take that out, all the algae that in there, take it out. And he didn't. He just kept consuming it over the years. And he made millions of dollars doing it. But the thing of it is, he just died at 46. Yeah, he just died at 46 with liver kidney problems. And he was already a plant-based lifestyle, already living this lifestyle. But he was taking those algae.
See, that's why even if we are on this lifestyle, it's not just like you're automatically doing it right. There's a lot of things that take into place, a lot of research, a lot of learning to do. And that's why we have you on. You're amazing. And we love you.
Another thing, well, thank you. I love you back. But another thing I don't do is I don't do algae, and I don't do mushrooms. You know, like especially the conventional mushrooms that people buy at the health food stores or farmers markets. Mushrooms is a fungus, right? I don't do kombucha either. Kombucha it comes from the mushroom family, but the fungus, the mushrooms, feeds fungus. So people that have candida, let's say, candida yeast overgrowth, the mushrooms feed it. So anytime people have candida in their system or candida in their blood, it's a fungus. It's a yeast, right? So when people eat mushrooms, it feeds it. Same thing with sugar, like high sugar stuff, sugar content feeds it. So when people go on a candida diet per se, when people have candida, they wake up in the morning with a white coated tongue, or they have dandruff, or they have their nails are kind of like, what do you call it? Messed up because of this fungus, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, when people go on a candida diet, they cut out everything that's sweet, from dates, raisins, any sugar stuff, anything sweet, they cut that out. They cut out mushrooms,
blueberries, everything, even everything.
Berries are low in sugar, so
Yeah.
not so berries, but the sweet ones like bananas, maybe mangoes, any sweet fruits. Kiwis would be okay because it's low in sugar. Green apples is okay because that's low in sugar. But anything like sweet, you cut that out for the next few months while you're trying to get rid of the candida. You cut out mushrooms, soy sauce, anything ferments like wine, beer, liquor. Those are ferments, right? Those long-term ferments like the soy sauce, vinegar.
What about
wine,
sauerkraut?
liquor.
Like sauerkraut?
Sauerkraut, I think that's okay because that's just a cultured vegetable. That's different. I'm talking about like the soy sauce, the vinegars. Those are long-term ferments.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see. Again, anything sweet. Oh, any kind of bread that has yeast in it.
Yeah.
You got to cut that out. Any yeast, forget about it.
Or nutritional yeast, even. Yeah.
I would say just cut it out for a little while until you get it under control. The nutritional yeast, it's once the yeast is under control, if you want to have it once in a while to make a cheese dip or something, or a cheese sauce, or nut season or whatever. I remember the other day I was working with a family and I took Brazil nuts. I soaked them the night before. I made it into yogurt, and I put garlic, salt, lemon to it with nutritional yeast in there. Whipped it up, made a cheese dip out of it. Everybody just ate it right up. They loved it.
Hmm.
So you want to get creative sometimes. Those are things you can do. You know what I mean?
I love it. And you just made me think for some reason, there's this book I have, I forget what it's called. It was these long-term raw food pioneers that wrote it. And it was this page I opened to, and it said, when you have like, the moons on our finger, like these moons, it says that when you have more of these moons, I don't know if this is true, if you've ever heard this, it means you have great circulation and you have not like you're not full of mucus. But if you don't have many moons or like none at all, it means you have poor circulation and you're full of mucus. Do you think there's any truth to that or no?
It's been said, and so now I'm wondering, do I have any moons?
I
Yeah,
was
a
looking
moon
online,
right.
I'm like, oh, there better be moons when I saw that. And there's the moons are pretty good on every finger except for my pinky, not as much, but it's still there. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. There's just all these cool things for us to learn in our whole life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. I love having you on. We could talk forever. There's so much more to do, so we'll have to bring you back because I really want to bring you back for in-depth on the four principles. Also for a Q&A with the viewers' questions. I know people want to see a recipe book, so we have to get you on. You have to create a recipe book for us this year,
Oh,
Lou,
it's
so that
coming,
we
coming.
can all buy this and make all these recipes. But for now, I will put on the screen, you guys, lose what I eat in a day video. Go watch it. Go make the juice, the gorilla milk, the yogurts, the salads, the soups. Divine, the best I've ever had. And I'll put another video, one of my favorites with Lou on the screen as well. So go watch those. Let's say goodbye to Lou. Let's say thank you to Lou. We love you so much.
Thank
And
you for listening.
yeah, subscribe to this channel. I will put a lemon ginger video blast coming after this video. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification so you don't miss it. And we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Love you all. Thank
Love
you.
you guys.
See you.